Delight to have Anna back tonight, and we hope to see her again here before too long. A couple of seats seem to have become vacant close to the front if anybody's tucked round the back there who can't really see, but feel free to come forward if you want to. Anyway, if not, we'll ask Mr. Southbank Poetry, Peter Ebsworth, to return to the Dodo stage. Here he is.
Before I do the ones about serial killers and drag queens in Benidorm, I'm going to do a nice quiet one. It's called Invention. In the new times, we'll still meet occasionally at the old bench in your favourite park, and you'll bring the buggy with your son or daughter. Talk will be of the baby and you, while Joey waits patiently after licking my hand when I've stroked him. I'll enjoy my new status as a god-grandfather, even though I'm not sure if such a thing exists. Now, the next one is, I went to Florence and saw lots of wonderful art, and then came back and wrote a poem about the Serial Killer Museum. And it's called Serial Killer a Pena di Morte at the Museo Criminale Florence. Picture up outside the museum, around the corner from Michelangelo's David. She'd been captivated by the life-size Charles Manson waxwork beaming out at her. "Well, you mustn't let life get you down," was my opening line, which I followed with an account of having known members of the Process, a London-based cult with links to the Manson family. She was enthralled. They always are. No matter the degree of separation from your contact with the kills, the remotest connection's enough to produce goosebumps on the skin of a serial murderer groupie. In the hotel down Nazione, she laughed a lot at pillow talk of how huge the model for the David must have been. Imagine chopping that fucker into pieces and dropping them off around the city. But what made her really sizzle between the legs was when I confessed that, much as I enjoy hotels, I miss the comfort of knowing whoever shares my bed, jugs of acid in my bathroom are never more than 6 feet away. It's not true at all. Honestly. I hope I'm not frightened you. Okay, the next one is either two poems or it's one two-part poem. I go to Benidorm a lot and I stay at a hotel called the Royal Queen's Hotel, and this is called Deceptively Benidorm. The Royal Queen's Hotel, the Old Town, September 2014. The drag acts here are a nightly feature. Everyone who visits knows this, despite their being billed as the Naughty Queen's Girls on posters. Except for Ali, a newly employed waiter Sue befriends and tips generously during her week's stay. Eventually he admits it isn't true he's always lived in Benidorm, because he's been dying to show Sue photos of his wife and kids back in Pakistan. One evening, soon as Miss Dusty Crack climaxes her performance, Ali charges over to our table. "Peter, Susan, it is terrible here." Excuse the Peter Sellers accent. "Every night a deception is being committed. People come to hear women sing and dance, and they are fooled because they are not what they seem. We agree their miming is never in sync with the tapes, and the dresses these naughty girls wear are a bit over the top for our taste." The Terrace Bar, the New Town, March 2015. The only place I do bar quizzes, never do them back in England, or to the delight of Paul, who owns and runs the place, when I told him I'm not a gun for hire, anywhere else in Benidorm. I'm nearly always on the winning team, whether it's the bar team or the holidaymakers team. This Friday, it's music and entertainment. I've joined a small team of local expats and long stayers, which includes Bob, a former dresser to the stars in his native South Africa. He immediately reminds me I knocked a bottle of Coke over last September and some went on him. Says I'm looking very orange, implying I have a fake tan. I'm annoyed and adamant I've got my tan from sunbathing. Although admit when I bought it, hadn't noticed my after sun lotion is with tan enhancer. So technically you could say my tan isn't fake, but might be called an assisted tan. Bob says that should be a crime too, like assisted suicide. And if I ever decide to live over there in a few years' time, I should set up a branch of Tanitas. I've lost track of time as I didn't glance at my watch when I got up. How much longer?
I've got no idea actually.
Oh, all right. I'll just carry on until you tell me to get off. Okay.
So good, I wasn't looking
No,
at my
that's all
watch.
right. That's okay. No, the next one is one which is set in Marrakesh, and got these back on for this one because the print's small. This is called No Woman, No Sale. The magic of Marrakesh stalls as our local guide leads all 14 of us into a spacious place where the floor is a wood arena and a tortoise strolls around the perimeter as a warm-up act. We're ushered onto long benches, addressed by the man in charge, who reminds me of 1980s Alexei Sale, but calmer, as he soft-souks us with his no obligation to buy, just listen to their story and look. Introduction to a demonstration of hand-woven carpets made by a women's cooperative. Successive waves of colourful carpets and rugs sweep over our eyes, twist and fall beside feet, followed by individual approaches from different male salesmen who take turns to sit next to us. They're pleased to buy for the sake of these women, become more desperate as their pitch continues to fail, right down to much smaller, less colourful rugs, which parallels the price descent from several hundred dirhams or euros to only 40, conveyed as if it would be little more than buying a copy of the Big Issue or South Bank Poetry magazine. The major flaw in their strategy is the absence of any saleswomen, and there's not even a photo of the women at work or of any women. I worry if nobody buys anything, they might take it out on the tortoise. Notice the salesmen have travelled full circle, arriving as he completes his second and final lap. What our guide knows and they don't is we were wooed for an hour mid-morning by a young woman proprietor proffering free mint tea in an oils and spices shop. It was brilliant at persuading people to club together to buy 3s for the price of 2, as well as single items that added up to quite a spend for most of our group, leaving the rest of us equally weary in the mid-afternoon heat. We leave, having not bought anything. Alexei and his crew are polite but glum. I make sure I'm the last one out, glance behind to watch the youngest man walk over to the tortoise and gently pick it up. And I'll finish with just one short one. I think that's probably about my lot. This is called Reflections at Samos Harbour. As permanent as ice creams, our reflections in the water show that if journeys home have to be made, they can be made back again, as easily as ferries here depart for and arrive from other islands. And on some days to come, we may still wave ourselves goodbye, even if we're going nowhere. Something we learned as children after we'd followed the van with the slow, tinkly tune, whether we were rewarded each time or not. Thank you.